Welcome to another episode of SidekickTV. Today we're joined by Jordan Clemence of Insurance Brokers. Now, what we're talking about today is KiwiSaver. At Sidekick, we've found an alarming number recently of guys that are nearing retirement and they are hoping that their business is going to fund all of their retirement. Now, it may do, but the trouble is they've put all their eggs in one basket. Now, what we want people to think about is perhaps how do they have a more balanced approach to their wealth creation and retirement planning? And that's why we really want people to consider as part of that their KiwiSaver. Now, Jordan runs through a couple of numbers and examples, and they are astounding to see what the small difference can be, or the small sacrifice can be, and what that might actually mean when you come to retirement. And we also talk of a few analogies of how we've introduced Jordan to our team as well. So please do listen. This is a brief one, so you've no excuses, and I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you. Hey, great to have you with us today, Jordan. So talking about KiwiSavers and how self-employed and small business owners can maximise it. So Jordan, one of the things I wanted us to cover today, one of the key things was around, self-employed people. We know that so many of them think, well, my business is going to be my retirement plan, and therefore they can miss out on these other opportunities. What's the kind of advice or conversation you might be having with a self-employed person when it comes to KiwiSaver?
That's a great question. I've had a number of clients lately that have left their KiwiSaver far too long. They're looking at exiting their business, not quite this number they thought they were going to exit for. They haven't been contributing to KiwiSaver. 61-year-old with 6K in their KiwiSaver, and they may not be getting the exit price that they needed to retire. So they're now looking at working the business right through to 70. They're now getting to the party far too late to try and maximise these returns on their KiwiSaver.
Yeah, and it's a real case of all their eggs in one basket, hey?
100%. And who knows, with AI and what's happening in the marketplace, if your business is still going to be sellable in 20 years' time.
Yeah. So when we look at that like essentially it's just diversification, isn't it? That's what the investment guys call it. What are you recommending then clients do when it comes to this kind of KiwiSaver if they're self-employed?
Really a case-by-case basis, but at the bare minimum, put in the minimum $21 in a week to get the government contribution of $521. If a 25-year-old starts doing that today, at age 65, they can have over 200K in their KiwiSaver from putting that $21 in a week.
Yeah, wow. And they're not going to miss 25-year-olds shouldn't miss $21 a month. It's a couple of pints maybe.
Yeah, box of beer.
Yeah.
Little sacrifices.
Yeah, cool. The other thing I'm thinking is with these guys, often these self-employed people, they're bosses as well. They're employing people. Do you see that they're getting this right for their employees?
No. Only 30% of people have had advice on their KiwiSaver in New Zealand, so they're horrific numbers, especially when the bank should be giving that when they're signing up, or their employers. For me and my team, their financial wellbeing is huge, so we're giving advice around our admin staff on their KiwiSaver as soon as they come into the company, and that's something we do for a number of our clients as well with bigger teams, or even the 1 or 2 in their team, making sure they've got this set up.
Yeah, awesome. It's funny actually, we got Jordan in to speak to our team some point last year, wasn't it? And as I mentioned that we're doing this video today, 2 of the people chirped up in the office and were just raving that their returns that they've got compared to what they'd had previously were enormous. And I just hadn't realised, it's like we employ accountants here. You jump to the assumption that, these young people know exactly what they're doing, but actually KiwiSaver is it's out there on its own, and if you've not done investing before, you're unlikely to be an expert at it. So
yeah, and I think that age 65 is so far off for some people that they don't think about it, and as I'm getting older, it feels like it's getting closer really quickly. The other vehicle that it's really good for is getting people into their first homes. So helping with that deposit and the home start grants and bits and pieces around what KiwiSaver has there to offer. So if you're buying a new build, you can get up to $10,000 from the first home grant.
Right. Yeah, okay. And so you combine that with other government contributions, and are they set to carry on forever, the government contributions, or is it like road user charges on an electric vehicle?
Crystal ball.
Right, okay.
Whether the government continues them depends when some cuts or someone needs some more money in their budget. So hopefully they do continue. They're a very good motivator for people to get into KiwiSaver and be contributed.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's one thing, sorry, we were talking before we started recording, and it's just occurred to me again. We were talking earlier about the self-employed and small business owners having all their eggs in one basket and going, well, when I'm 65, I'll sell my business and I'll retire. I know you also do personal insurances. It doesn't take into account the risk, does it, of what if you can't work till you're 65?
Yeah, well, that's correct. And that's where the personal insurances are your plan B. So if you're unable to work and it cuts your earning life cycle short, we can have some things like income protection and bits and pieces in there. The other side of that is when life insurance, as you get older, gets quite expensive. If you're contributing to your KiwiSaver, you can pull that on hardship. So we can start ramping down things like life insurance and bits and pieces like that, because you've got your net worth is justifying not having quite as much life insurance.
Yeah, great. Because and that's it, you know, we hate to see those scenarios that you've just mentioned where I'm 61 and I've got $6,000 in my KiwiSaver.
Yeah.
You know, like that's look, it might be fine if the rest of your asset base is great, but for the sake of a box of beers a week, actually you could have had 220 grand.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating coming across those people, because if they'd had the advice when they first signed up to KiwiSaver or 15 years prior, they'd have quite a considerable sum in there. The comment from the client was, this isn't even going to give me enough for driving Miss Daisy to get me to the supermarket. Yeah, tough. So what? Where should people start? What do they need to do? Is it a big onerous process to get this stuff nailed? Not at all. It's a 10-15 minute conversation. We can do some forecasting. We look at your risk profile, so we're making sure we get you in the right fund with the right provider for your values. Driver's license and IRD number, and we can get you signed up.
Right. And with advice and ready to go.
Correct.
Yeah. So you don't even need to get your advice down the pub for this.
No, you don't.
Awesome. All right. What parting words would you have for, you know, especially when we look at self-employed people, what would be your kind of parting advice for these guys when thinking about KiwiSaver?
Take 15 minutes, get the review done, make sure it's right for what you're trying to achieve, and get the free money from the government. They don't often dish it out.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Hey, thanks very much for that, Jordan. That's wicked. And look, if you're enjoying these videos and you're getting value out of them, please do subscribe where you're watching this or listening to it, and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Cheers. Welcome to SidekickTV. I'm your host, Ric Thorpe. SidekickTV is the place for Kiwi business owners and entrepreneurs to learn all about finance, accounting, and how to run and operate a business in New Zealand. We're going to interview experts from the finance realm and fellow Kiwi business owners. Stay tuned.